Hey, what is going on everybody, and welcome to Fantasia. For today, we're going to be jumping into another session of Epic 7. Now today, got some more Epic 7 World Championship Quarterfinals for you guys. This time around, we're going to be taking a look at ReTryEver's match against Uigang, both players from the Korea server. So the matchup is actually quite unfortunate. Because this means that one of these two Korea server representatives will be knocked down into the loser's bracket. They won't be out of the tournament just yet though. Now if you want to check out more coverage of the Epic 7 World Championships and their matches in their entirety, be sure to subscribe for more because they'll be coming out in the next few days. And make sure to cut out all of the extra content, like little breaks and things like that. Really just stick to watching the gameplay. But we see Uigang starting off with the first pick here. Spectre Tenebria getting picked out. ML Landy banned on his side along with Bellion, so Spectre is a pretty safe first pick. Lua and Aola, my favorite pre-bans, are taken by ReTryEver, and he's going to open up with the Sea Lilius and the Hand Guy. Hand Guy is actually pretty good with the Sea Lilius here, prevents the opponent from using Ocean Breeze Luluka as a counter into them, especially into that Sea Lilius, punishing her right with the debuffs that come out with Luluka's extra attack. Uigang now going for a Zeo play, very interesting. Uigang seems to be taking a more aggressive approach. He's kind of has the makes of an aggro team going on right here, which is a little surprising for him because he is known as one of the best tank down players in the game. But it looks like he is switching things up over here. Last Rider Crowd getting picked up though, a little bit of a pivot, kind of keeping the opponent on their toes. Last Rider Crow is really good with Spectre Tenebria, but that Zeo there is a really good counter into the Sea Lilius. It also opens up the last two picks for an aggressive pivot, so gotta watch out for that. And I think ReTryEver does smell something fishy going on, so he's gonna go ahead and pick up Karina, and she is not too bad over here. She can one-shot the Zeo, for example, and she's pretty decent into an anti-aggro, anti-cleave team. Now ReTryEver is going to finish things off with a Tempest Surin. Pretty decent pick here. She can actually just one-shot the Spectre Tenebria, which is usually the purpose of people picking her into these types of teams. Now, Tempest Surin can also do really well into Last Rider Crow. She's on a lifesteal build. She won't really die to Last Rider Crow. You can always heal up, and you'll be max health before Last Rider Crow gets another S3. The only unit here that poses an issue to her is Zeo, who can S1 and then S1 and get 2 hits out of it, and with no damage mitigation on ReTryEver's side, Tempest Surin could go down. Now, with that said, Karina can proc a barrier which can keep the T-Surin alive. So we'll see if that works. Ocean Breeze Luluka getting picked out at the end with a Lionheart Surmia. Pretty smart there. You don't want to pick the Ocean Breeze Luluka and then have your opponent pick the Lionheart Surmia, especially when they already have a Sea Lilius. So the Ocean Breeze Luluka will be here against the Sea Lilius, and it's a slightly weird interaction now because Luluka's debuffs, oh yeah, there we go, I was about to say, Luluka's debuffs would be cleansed off by Meteor to Cowrick, so Meteor to Cowrick seems like he would be the ban, but predicting that Meteor to Cowrick would be the ban, it's a 50-50 now. You'd have to ban the Ocean Breeze Luluka, otherwise you'd be riddled with debuffs, and a lot of people are actually building their Ocean Breeze Lulukas with a bunch of effectiveness too, about 100 effectiveness, so that you can actually debuff certain knights and things like Last Rider Crow as well. But both of those units going to be gone. We see Zeo taking the first turn. Going to push back that Sea Lilius very likely. She's going to be silenced. No Vigor buff for the team. Now, Ice Crow got picked on the left side here with ReTryEver because Last Rider Crow, when he has 3s, or when Lionheart Surmia also has 3s, you'll be eating a lot of damage, and this Crow can just pop an S3 and nuke somebody in return. So this Last Rider Crow is almost 30k health. That is absolutely insane. So let's see here. He's going to Soul Burn, and see how much damage that Crow takes. Ooh, about over a third of the health of Crow. Now, Lionheart Surmia does get to push up from this Karina on counter set. Counter set definitely is starting to look a little iffy here on a lot of units. especially now that Lionheart Sirmia got her buff. And look at that, she's going to be cutting in front of that Sea Lilius too. Okay, so Tempest Cern going for that last Rider Crow, that dual attack was really not good. Basically helping that last Rider Crow's cooldowns, and he just needs one more turn before he can get his S3 back up. Lionheart Sirmia though going to go for the S3. Tempest Cern's going to stealth, she got hit below half. And that's going to proc the Karina. So you see that barrier there, keeping the Tempest Cern alive. See, Lilia's very tanky with that barrier and the defense buff. And Crow, of course, soaking up some damage. Karina's going to go for the S3. Let's see if she can actually hit a defense break here. Oh, very nice defense break onto that onto that Lionheart Sirmia. Sea Lilius going to be taking the turn. Hopefully, bring in. Okay, very nice. Tempest Cern coming in for the dual attack, finishing off the Lionheart Sirmia. Uigang, little bit of reaction there in the webcam. He was not very pleased by that interaction. Spectre Tenebria, though, coming in with a Soul Burn. It is not a Lifesteal Spectre, so we'll see how much damage she can do with this S3. Alright, so, yep, able to take out that Sea Lilius there, but that Tempest Cern gets a gab. Now, you realize that the Tempest Cern didn't S3 on the previous turn. Is this going to take out the Spectre Tenebria? Oh, yes, it is. Oh my god. And Crow has not even used his S3. So this is pretty much over. Oh my god. Whoa, Crow! Crow is going to be able to survive the Zeo. Now, even if Crow went down, there's absolutely no way that this LRK can solo that Tempest Cern, especially when she has Lifesteal. She'll be able to heal up above half her health before LRK gets a chance to get his S3 up again. Alright, Uigang gonna be taking the first pick again this time around, saying, alright, we're gonna take the Sea Lilius from ReTryEver. Really strong pick, and she's kind of shown throughout the tournament why she is so good, right? Versatile in every single team comp. The buffs are just absolutely ridiculous, especially because Vigor can't be dispelled. It's just free attack, free defense, which again benefits pretty much every single team comp out there. She is so versatile and crazy, and yeah, I would say pretty much never bad as a first pick unit. Now, into this, ReTryEver is actually picking Arwell for a damage mitigation and Lionheart Sirmia. So with Lionheart Sirmia here, we're going to see the Sea Lilius get punished for her S1s. It's a really early Lionheart pick, so you could definitely find units that can finish her off pretty easily, but I don't think those units will be picked out quite yet. It's still early on in the draft. Uigang, though, going for a couple weird picks here. I say weird because these are picks that are typically safe for later in the draft. DN is also a unit that's kind of fallen out of favor lately, with a lot of true damage units out there, splash damage units, or units that just don't crit in general, right? Last Rider Crow's S3, Karina's damage with Rocket Punch Gauntlet, just to name a couple units that were used just in the previous match alone, previous round, right? So DN over here, it's because Hand Guy is banned, I would assume. DN's cleanse is not that great though. You cleanse 2 debuffs, it's a pretty long cooldown, no immunity buff. She does give anti-crit, which is nice, but now there's a Para on ReTryEver's side. This will put the unbuffable and restrict onto Uigang's team, which is not great. And Para's going to be able to outspeed the Sea Lilius, assuming that both players have ideal builds. Dilibet's going to get picked up on ReTryEver's side, and that's again punishing the Sea Lilius. They're really going hard on the Sea Lilius pick, right? Dilibet will be able to cleanse the team, and she's actually also pretty good at sustaining against something like Pirate Captain Flan. I'd say she's pretty decent. Ed could be okay here. It might be a little early for Ed. Dilibet's more of a neutral pick. If Ed was picked out, I would say that there'd be 2 ice units that get picked out here on Uigang's side. Something like Shu could actually work pretty decently here. I know there's an well, there's a restrict and an unbuffable from the Para, but if Para gets banned out, that could be an option. 2 Earth units, definitely as the last pick, would punish that Ed really hard. So Dilibet, pretty good neutral pick here. And there isn't that much damage on Uigang's side, so perhaps the Dilibet would actually be able to survive and do some chip damage here and there to help close the game out. We see Aiden getting picked out. That's a pretty strong pick into the Dilibet, actually. Although Lionheart Sirmia, it's a little iffy into her. Dark Corvus getting picked up as the last pick here. I think he might have to be the ban because there isn't enough damage on ReTryEver's side to finish off something like Dark Corvus. He's looking like a really strong pick. And we'll see ReTryEver hovering over the Solitaria. No, oh, really? Okay, well, with that Solitaria pick, this Dark Corvus must be banned now, because Solitaria essentially just feeds Dark Corvus for free. First of all, light against dark, you get extra 15% chance to crit, so that is not going to help in terms of Dark Corvus's focus stacks, and the AoE from Solitaria is inevitable, right? So Dark Corvus gonna say bye-bye, and Lionheart Sirmia also gonna be gone as well. That's kind of the unit I would go for too, seeing as Pirate Captain Flan and Aiden are here. You could probably control ReTryEver's team a little bit. I mean, ReTryEver's team has a bunch of control too. Arwal has a stun, Pera has a stun, Dilda has silence, Solitaria has stuns, and I don't know if DN can actually keep up here. So we'll have to see. Alright, jumping into this first match, the second round, but the match is starting. We have Pera taking the first turn over Lilius, which makes sense. 4% faster is a pretty typical difference that you would see. Pera having one of the highest base speeds in the game. She's opting to not go for an S2 and just going for an S3, getting that escort buff up. I guess sharing the sharing the load with this Arwal. So, see, Lily is going to pop her S3. Ooh, actually, taking the escort buff off the Arwal, so there you go. Pera's going to be taking the brunt of the damage now. Solitaria going to go ahead and get provoked, although I don't think she got pushed back. Dildet gets to go, and she could potentially cleanse by going for an S3. Don't know if it's entirely necessary, but there's no point in not. I think you'd want the Solitaria to be cleansed anyway, just so she can get her Daydream buff. This is risky though, because the Aiden can counter, and we do see her doing just that. She doesn't get to cut though, so that's pretty good. It's probably a slower, bulkier Aiden build. Now she does get an attack buff, which is a little bit scary, because this Dilibet could just get absolutely deleted. Alright, so Pirate Captain Flan gonna get pushed back and stunned by the Solitaria. DN does have a cleanse, but look, this is the only cleanse that DN has. And Pera has not used any of her debuffs here, so she could go for an S2 on the next turn. You got the Restrict, you got the Unbuffable. It's not gonna be too great. Oh, an S3 coming in onto Dilibet, almost taking her out, but thankfully Arwal's going to be going before the Pirate Captain Flan. Go for the S3 here, get a stun, get a little barrier, help out the Dilibet, and try to keep her alive. Oh, but no, not gonna happen. Pirate Captain Flan resisting the stun. ReTryEver, his Dilibet's looking like she's going down here with this bomb detonation. Oh, no, never mind. She's barely alive. Now, see, Lilia's going to go ahead and finish her off. Yes, indeed, Aiden's going to get tagged along, and she'll be S1ing there. Now, Pera has the option of going for the S2. This Aiden has already used her counter on the previous turn, so it's on cooldown. So that's exactly what we see here. Get that Unbuffable, get that Restrict on everybody. So now DN can't even S3 to buff, which is a bit of an issue. She can really only S1 and try to turn cycle, but even then she's restricted, so she can't get that combat readiness gain. Pera's going to go for a stun here, likely onto Pirate Captain Flan, I would say. Yep, that's the main unit that you'd want to lock down, because Pirate Captain Flan has the potential, just like Solitaria, to absolutely control an entire team if you leave her unchecked. And with something like Mediator Cowrick banned out, right, from the previous round, it is really, really easy for people to just spam debuffs and just control. Mediator Cowrick is single-handedly holding back the floodgates of these control units here. We see the stun coming out onto Pirate Captain Flan, stun onto Aiden as well, and additional debuffs onto C. Lilia's got that attack down on her too. Speed down on the Pirate Captain Flan is going to definitely help prevent her from turn cycling out of her stun. And now with the Restrict debuff getting a buff, you can actually push back units that have the Restrict debuff now, which is pretty strong, I would say, especially if they have a speed down and they're controlled already. You can just push them back and prevent them from moving forward pretty much ever. As long as you have the correct turn cycling on your team and you don't get 15%ed. Now, in this case here, Solitaria is going to be taking yet another turn, and Pera's cooldowns are coming off as well. Let me see here. Unbuffable onto the Pirate Captain Flan yet again. Can we get some stuns? We do! Very nice! Wow, Diane getting stunned there is huge because her S2 is actually off cooldown now. See Lilius losing her turn as well, she was stunned. This Pirate Captain Flan is on some next level build. She's 15%ing. You see Uigang very, very happy about that actually, because now this Pirate Captain Flan gets to throw back some control into ReTryEver's side. Go for an S3, get some bombs going for sure, and that's exactly what Pirate Captain Flan's gonna do. Unfortunately, she's restricted. She doesn't gain that 50% combat readiness from that S3, but does push everybody back, so hopefully it'll buy her a little bit of time. See Lilia's gonna be going. She has an S2, could potentially soft lock and control somebody here with a provoke. Again, there's no cleansing on ReTryEver's side, right? So Solitaria gets provoked to push back. It's really mostly for the pushback, I would say, because the provoke doesn't really do anything. She's still gonna S1 and have an AoE hit, and oh wait, no, never mind, I take that back. She has debuffs on her. No Daydream buff for the Solitaria, so that's actually pretty good. Nice little control onto Solitaria there, and we do get to replenish the Vigor buff on everybody, and that's going to be it. ReTryEver is going to surrender. Wow, Control Team versus Control Team there. Solitaria versus Pirate Captain Flan, and Pirate Captain Flan squeaking that out in the end. Uigang looking very happy there in that little moment we saw his webcam. And so let's jump into the next match. ReTryEver gonna go for the C Lilius pick as his first unit. Both players essentially just trading C Lilius back and forth. Everyone wanting first pick and wanting to grab her. Such a valuable unit. And we see Zeo and Spectre come out. So Uigang going for what he did in the first round here. This is going to be quite interesting to see because when he did it previously, he had first pick. So he just picked Spectre Tenebria, and the ReTryEver went to see Lilius Hand Guy. In this case, the turn order was reversed, so ReTryEver has to see Lilius first. Zeo Spectre coming out together, and ReTryEver does not have Hand Guy this time around to go for. He's anticipating some form of an aggro play, so going for that Karina. Are we going to see another Tempest Surin pick here? Or is ReTryEver thinking it's a little too early for that? Because he definitely wants a solid pick here. Uigang has 2 more units that he can choose, and that is going to be it for his draft. The first 4 units is likely what ReTryEver is going to be fighting, and he gets 2 more picks to counter those first 4. So he's going to play it safe. Is he going to do it? Last Rider Crow, not bad for some true damage and some reach for that Spectre Tenebria. You don't want your opponent to have the Last Rider Crow with the Spectre, because it's a pretty difficult combo to break up. But we see Uigang pivoting really sharply here, going into a Ron and a Jacko. Very nice. So going for aggressive, fast-paced play. We're going to see that Sage Ball get picked out. Definitely what I would have done here. And I think I probably would go for something like a DJB as well. DJB could be pretty good here, especially if you have him on Eternus. You can actually cut after the Zeo or after the Ron, whoever's faster, and cleanse the debuffs, right? So we'll see. I think Sage Ball is going to be the one that gets banned out here. Ed would not be a terrible pick. He is pretty decent into the Ron, into the Spectre, into the Jacko, because they do have debuffs in their skills. However, it is also a little risky because he won't cleanse the Ron's debuff. He'll cleanse the Stigma first, I believe, and that actually opens up the door for something like Jacko to just come in and one-shot this Ed. So we'll see how it pans out. Last pick here for Uigang. Less than 10 seconds left to choose. I don't really play an aggro or a cleave type of team ever, so it's difficult for me to say what to go for. Uigang, though, goes for an Aria, which is a pretty nice anchor for this team. An anchor is typically a unit that is slower, a bit beefier. Think about something like an Apocalypse Ravi sitting on your team, right? Because a lot of these anti-cleave units, like Karina, Last Rider Crow, Sage Ball, Ed, they don't really have that much damage output to kill off an anchor unit like, for example, Aria over here, or a very popular one in previous seasons was a Ravi. Zeo's going to get banned out along with Sage Ball. Makes sense. Zeo would be pretty devastating to the team. Being able to silence something like Karina or Last Rider Crow would definitely hinder the damage output and also inflict a ton of damage because he does it proportional to the unit's max health. Sage Ball definitely gets banned out here because he would essentially just go after the Zeo or the Ron, and sleep everybody. Everyone loses their first turn, and ReTryEver would get free reign with this Karina and Ed. But let's see what happens here. Ron is going to go for an S2. See if he rips this S3 or if he's going to play it safe and just go for an S1. Nope, he's going to soul burn this S3, and he is going to go for it. So Stigma defense break's going to be coming out here. See, Ed did not actually cleanse that defense break. He pushes up, but oh my god, look at that, the Jacko! She got provoked. Uigang definitely visibly distraught there. Super unfortunate for him. That provoke on the Jacko hurt really bad. Otherwise, she could have gone for an S3 onto the Ed, taken him out, and probably gone for an S1 into somebody else, deal a ton of damage with a follow-up attack, and then stealth afterwards. So that is terrible, especially because look at all those defense breaks that landed. He is not going to be able to take advantage of any of that. And looking at the combat readiness bar, oh my god, that Karina dual attacking there with that C. Lilius is really, really bad, because Karina's getting to go after the Ed, and Last Rider Crowd goes after that. I think this Aria is pretty much dead, because everyone's going to focus their hits onto her. If you can get rid of the anchor here, everyone pretty much falls. Spectre Tenebria won't be able to see a turn, because this Karina splash damage either kills her, or this Last Rider Crowd's AoE, which is going to be coming in very, very soon, is going to take her out. So we see here, yeah, look at that. Pretty much a reverse cleave coming out from ReTryEver. Man, well played to both sides. I mean, they tried their best. It was just really unlucky with that Ed pick. That provoke was definitely really key. So Uigang is down 1 to ReTryEver, and this is match point. If ReTryEver can gain one more point here, he is gonna be moving on, and Uigang will be knocked down. So we see an Arwell get picked up along with an Aiden. It's a really early Aiden pick, but hey, we're down 10 units, right? Look at those banned units there at the bottom. Lua, Aola, Ocean Breeze, Luluka, Hangai. We got the Landy, we got Bellion as well. So a lot of anti-cleave units are gone here, right? Things that would technically protect you from things like Zeo would be good for kind of contesting people's speed, right? See Lilius' speed, for example. We see things like Landy and Bellion. And Sage Ball was really good anti-cleave unit, shutting down souls, being able to sleep things, and having anti-crit for the entire team. You also have Ocean Breeze, Luluka, and Aola, more situational anti-cleave units, but definitely can punish certain types of skills, like non-attack skills or AoE skills. Those are also taken out. So Uigang is going for a pretty aggressive play yet again. See Lilius, DJB getting picked up this time around. Not too bad, because the barrier inversion onto the Arwell, you can actually do pretty good damage onto the Aiden. If she's pretty squishy, and the Arwell's barrier is pretty big. Spectre Tenebria getting picked up on Uigang's side. It's going to be met with a Ravi and a Shuna on ReTryEver's side. That's a bit questionable here, because Ravi is the only DPS here, and Spectre Tenebria is going to be hiding in the backline. Now, Uigang's team is pretty squishy. DJB doesn't do too well in prolonged fights. And C. Lilius, while she is built pretty tanky, she's not a damage mitigation unit. Not going to have Aureus or Adamant Shield or anything like that to help protect the team. We see Briarwitch Assyria getting picked up, and Solitaria. That's going to be interesting. Shuna's not bad into a team like this, because she is able to reach out and sleep and attack down units like Spectre Tenebria who are stealth, because it's a non-attack skill and it's AoE. Now the only issue is DJB can definitely cleanse all of those debuffs, rendering her skill useless. We're going to see ReTryEver hovering over the Dilibet, which is not too bad of an option into something like Briarwitch Assyria or Solitaria, Spectre Tenebria too, I guess. But I'm not really sure about this. I feel like there should have been something else that was picked out instead of the Ravi. Having a single target unit there into Spectre Tenebria is not going to bode well, especially because Uigang can actually ride this out with something like Briarwitch, unless, of course, something lands an unbuffable, or she gets banned out, because, you know, having that immortality, if your team just continuously laps and hits that Briarwitch, that Spectre Tenebria is still going to be untouched in the back line. Alright, but we see Dilibet get banned out along with the Briarwitch, which makes sense because Dilibet would be able to nullify a lot of the work that Solitaria and Briarwitch potentially put through. Alright, let's see what happens here now. See Lilius taking the first turn. Kind of expected, but we'll see what she's capable of doing here in terms of provokes and maybe pushing back some combat readiness. Soul Constellation on that Shuna, so she's going to be able to push up from that non-attack skill. Not enough to really cut the entire team, but enough to maybe go before the, well, I guess she did cut the entire team. I don't know what I'm saying there. She cuts in front of the entire team, and she's able to go for an S3. And this can actually help quite a bit because it makes Solitaria lose her first turn. Oh yeah, there you go. Ooh, but this DJB having none of it. Look at this. He gets to just go. Now, he could barrier invert over here, and I think he should. It gets pretty good damage onto that Aiden. Look at that. Basically a third of her HP just gone from a single skill. And now he gets to push up and turn cycle his units, get them out of their debuffs, and get immunity onto them too. Solitary gets her Daydream debuff as well. ReTryEver not looking to be in the best position anymore. He was looking pretty solid at the start, but when that DJB cut, that was pretty unfortunate. DJB was going to cleanse anyway, but you'd kind of prefer the Solitaria lose her first turn. Because now we see the unbuffable on this ROL. She is also stunned. So no escort buff here, while Spectre Tenebria takes her first turn. She's vigor buffed. She's S3ing into an Aravi that has a debuff. Look at that, half her health deleted. Over 13k damage coming out right there. This Aiden has an attack down, and she's blind, so this is not looking too good. Shuna does have a cleanse in her kit, but she is pretty far back at the combat readiness bar. Ravi and Arwa both can be taking the turn before this Aiden, so she is actually going to go ahead and S3, and this is mostly to put up the invincibility. Now, unfortunately, Arwa is unbuffable, and she's a prime target for everyone to just hit when you want to avoid that Aiden. Ravi is going to be protected here, but not really for long. If this Solitaria can take another turn and debuff her, it would be pretty bad. DJB tried to go for a stun there, could not get it. We'll see how much damage this Ravi can do with her S1 though. She'll probably want to try to focus down this DJB because he is providing quite a bit of support here. Nope, instead opting to go for the C Lilia. Still a lot of damage with an attack down on this Ravi. That's insane. Over a quarter of C Lilius' health is just gone there. Shuna gonna redistribute some health and grant everyone a barrier. Solitary coming in with another unbuffable on this R-Wall. That's huge. No escort buff at all for the team, essentially. And look at that. The Fairy Tale for a Nightmare getting that splash damage in there onto that Aiden, onto that Shuna, breaking their barriers. DJB also dual attacking. Not too bad of a dual attack because he does get to heal his team up and has a chance to stun, but of course Arwal has too much effectiveness for that to happen. Miss coming out here onto the DJB. ReTryEver looking very disappointed in that. Now Spectre Tenebria can soul burn. Gonna go for the Arwell. Okay, a little bit of splash damage onto the Apoc Ravi. He could also try to go for this Aiden here too if he wants to try to finish her off. But again, Spectre's looking really safe in the background. She is really not worried at all. Gonna go for another hit on that Apocalypse Ravi. The splash damage is gonna go ahead and hit the Shuna. Let's see who this Ravi goes for. I think it's a little early to rip an S3, so we'll see what they plan to do here. Oh no, okay, it wasn't too early. Technically could have killed with an S3 there, but there's no point in doing so. You want to hold on to it until a unit goes down, then Apoc Ravi can revive. That was a lot of damage onto that DJB. See Lilius coming in with the provoke onto the Ravi, seeing that S3 potential on the next turn, not gonna have it, so pushing that back here. Shuna's cleanse is still on cooldown, relatively long cooldowns for her, because her turn cycling isn't the best. She doesn't really have much tempo in her kit, although she does have healing on that S1. She's gonna soul burn, get just a little bit of extra heals in onto this R while trying desperately to keep her alive, even though she's not even providing mitigation at the moment. Solitary coming in with the extra hit here. Fairy Tale for a Nightmare gonna be finishing, oh, never mind, not finishing off their R while she's looking still pretty healthy. Spectre Tenebria is the only unit with real damage there on Uigang's team, but that Solitary is providing so much control. Look at that! ReTryEver is like, nah, you can take this. We will go to match point round number 5, tied 2-2. Let's see if ReTryEver can kind of gain back his momentum, because Uigang taking back the last 2 rounds there, looking pretty solid. And again, we see another passing the baton, the switching of the C Liliuses, right? So ReTryEver going to take the first pick, get that C Lilius here. Let's see what Uigang is going to do. Picking up the Ron, pretty good into C Lilius, has faster base speed, can go first, put up an immunity buff at worst and prevent the Sea Lilius from attack downing your team. Karina getting picked up as well. Uigang deciding he doesn't really like to fight Karina's on the other side, and he would like her for himself. ReTryEver, though, going for a Destina pick. Destina's usually pretty decent into something like aggro or cleave. More so into aggro. She is very good at stopping momentum. If you can't kill Destina and your whole team goes, your team is at 0% combat readiness, Destina's still alive, and she'll be able to click that revive button, revive everyone back where the original combat readiness was, and they're likely going to be taking the turn before you lap them again. So that's how you secure wins with Destina in RTA. She's really good at stopping momentum. Ravi getting picked up, pretty good, just generic pick, I would say, but not the greatest into something like a cleave, which is kind of what we're seeing here on Uigang's side. While APOC Ravi is kind of neutral into the Karina is still very dangerous because she does have defense breaks, and there's no immunity buffer on ReTryEver's side. Of course, things like Hand Guy being banned out. We see Para coming out as well, and Jacko following up. There's no Dilibet here to help with cleansing these debuffs, and it's going to be quite difficult here for ReTryEver to draft 2 units now to go into this. Sage Ball is gone, and he is a huge unit when it comes to units like Ron and Para and Jacko, because you get to cut after an opener and then sleep all the DPSs that come afterwards. ReTryEver hovering over the Violet. I don't know if that's the pick. I mean, there are 3 ice units on the other side, but the main issue is that Karina can win Violet because of the Rocket Punch Gauntlet. And he's going to go for some damage mitigation here in the form of Eaton. Okay, it's not the worst option. I just find it very questionable here. He did look like he was running low on time. It might have been a panic pick, but Ravi and Violet are just not the greatest things into this team on Uigang's side. Summer Assyria is definitely going to get banned out. Very good pick. Essentially would have destroyed his entire team, right? Violet can get hit by the bombs. Ravi could just get controlled and stunned. And Destina, too, could fall victim to the high effectiveness builds that Summertime Assyrias tend to have. Alright, so we're going to see here, Para gets to go. She's put in the back. She gets the Chains of Chiron buff from this Jacko here. And she... No way! Para? The Chains of Chiron doesn't even guarantee that a stun is going to happen. There's a 25% chance to land a debuff, and every single unit on ReTryEver's side, including Violet, got stunned. That is terrible. The restrict on the APOC Ravi too is going to prevent her from pushing up and cycling out of this debuff. You see the Jacko just essentially gets free reign here. She's going to go for an S1, not even going to go for an S3 here. No need. She's just going to stealth and keep herself nice and healthy. Ron gets to go now. He could go for an S2. We'll see what he decides to go for. No souls. He could potentially just rip an S3 still. The only unit he won't hit is the Violet. There we go. And we see basically no debuffs come out on Ron at all. I mean, there's a Stigma debuff on the Eaton, but that's about it. That's really strange. Alright then, so Karina gonna go ahead and S3 into that Sea Lilius, trying to get rid of all the momentum that ReTryEver has. Sea Lilius is really good for just, again, buffing the team, and then she essentially takes the role of one of the DPSs here. She has ones, right? She'll either bring the Violet or the APOC Ravi, and any little damage counts against such a squishy team on Uigang's side. Stun coming out onto that Sea Lilius. Ron's gonna S2, gonna replenish that attack buff on himself, grant everybody immunity, and now he's gonna go for an S1. Let's see if he gets a, oh my god, he does get an R now! Uigang favored by Smilegate here. Absolutely demolishing ReTryEver right now. This Eaton needs to go down. His damage mitigation is incredibly strong, and he's preventing these other units from falling. Now, ReTryEver does have a chance here. Violet is cleansed of his debuffs, and this APOC Ravi is looking rather healthy too. Ooh, look at that though. Sea Lilius going to be taken out along with that Eaton. The extra damage coming in from the Jack, the extra hit. Oh my god! Wow, that Ravi is... Okay, the Ravi is basically dead now. With that restrict, she is not able to turn cycle. She's not able to take any turns. Oh my god, the wrong dual attack too! And the Rocket Punch Gauntlet proc. ReTryEver with a Violet. Can he 1v4? The only unit that has a chance of actually hitting him here is the Jacko. So we'll have to see if that actually works out. I mean, the skill null on this Ron makes sure that he is protected here. Moonlight Dreamblade proccing, so we'll see some extra damage coming out from this Violet. Don't know if he wants to eat his apple here. He could probably just hold on to it and just go for an S1. Now, he could just eat the apple and then go for an S3, although it's a little iffy. I don't know. He has to go for Karina. Yeah, he has to. If he does not go for Karina, he hits somebody else below half. Karina's going to get that defense buff, and once she does, her Rocket Punch Gauntlet is going to hurt. Plus, I think that Violet was pretty squishy too. Probably around like 14k health or something like this. Does he get this hit? Oh my god, Jacko hitting the Violet! Oh no, Violet is stunned. ReTryEver knows that this is the end. You can see it on his face. Oh, he is so disappointed. This evasion, man, this lack of evasion on Violet's side, how disappointing. But Uigang, look at that smile. He is very happy with that win. So well played, well played. With that being said though, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe for more Epic 7 content. And until next time, take care.